Okay, so I was diagnosed around at age 4, but I didn't find out until I was 11 years old when I moved in to live with my aunt and uncle. I overheard my aunt talking to my mom about it and I panicked. I thought I needed to go to the doctor and get a shot. But my aunt explained that autism isn't just a part of who I am. Let me try this again. My aunt explained that autism is just a part of who I am. Like my eye color, it's like having brown hair or hazel eyes. That really helped me start embracing it.
Yeah, it's just one of those things that kind of makes you unique from the person standing next to you. Um, let's see here. I just want to make sure I kind of ask everything. Um, so you found out when you were 11, then, correct? Is that what you're
Yeah,
telling
that
me?
is correct.
So, how did you kind of accept that? How did you kind of process it? I know you said your aunt kind of told you it was like, an eye color thing, or the way the hair looked. But what did it mean to you?
So, what does it really mean to me? So, when it comes to what does autism really mean to me, as what Sandy told me, is that she showed me the book called Dear Charlie, which explained that there's some autism within me. So, just like the character Charlie in the book, autism is pretty much like me. That's when my aunt explained it to me, that's how I started embracing my autism. And what does it really mean to me? I see autism as a combination of a challenge that I have, but also a superpower that gave me. Like for example, the ability to hyperfocus and the ability to visualize things.
I have never heard anyone call it a superpower. I like that. I'm gonna put that in the story somewhere. That is really cool. Because I kind of agree with that. Yeah, I think you do have that ability to like really hyper focus. Like with my mom being a special education teacher, I've grown up with kids with all different types of, different disabilities and abilities to do the things that you're talking about. Have you ever found yourself like in moments of like being overstimulated? And if you have, what are some things you've done to be like, okay, I'm overstimulated right now. I need to do X, Y, and Z to come back down.
So whenever I get overstimulated, like for example, like crowd noises or loud noises when I go to malls or amusement parks or loud concerts, what I do have come in hand, I usually have come in handy is I usually bring in my AirPods that helps me like block out the noises with these white noises. But if it gets too over loud or overstimulated, what I'll do is I have to leave. The good thing about most of the events that I went to is that some events do provide sensory rooms. If there is a sensory room provided, then that's the place where I can decompress.
You're saying so many things that I'm familiar with because like I talk to my mom on a daily basis, and she'll say like, yeah, I had to, use a sensory room today for, this student and that student. So I'm glad to see that a lot of this is, kind of the same thing that I'm hearing from you as well. Um, Let me see if there is anything else particular. Um, hmm. You know what? I think another thing that I think people would find really interesting is your business and how you were able to do what you do, find success with it, but also, I guess in a sense, deal with it on the autism level as well. I personally, again, just growing up around it and being so familiar with different things, I don't like to think of it as another challenge or hurdle to get over. I like to treat everyone as equal as possible. But kind of like, what are your thoughts and takeaways with that?
What are my thoughts and takeaways on can you ask me that question? Can you just
Yeah, sure. So, you know, with autism, you were still able to create this own business of yours and find really great success with it. Can you kind of just tell me about like that experience, that development?
how do I experience that part of development? So for me, when it comes to developing my own animation company, I definitely saw inspiration. I'm a little I'm sorry. Can you rephrase it again? Because it's not quite clear.
Yeah, sure. So just tell me what it was like, creating this business with having autism. Like, what type of challenges did you face, or did you feel you faced?
Well, for me, when it comes to starting my own animation company, one of the challenges that I definitely faced is that I researched a lot of the autism and job statistics, and I did find out that the majority of the autism population, around 85% of adults on the autism spectrum, are unemployed or underemployed, regardless of their college education, whether they have a college education or not. And that really determines to help me get my business started. The most important thing to help me get my business started is that my aunt and uncle recognized the talent in storytelling and doing little animations. And in order to help me, and they're the ones that definitely helped me get my company started. So, but the most important thing is when you wanted to start a company, nobody works alone. It's always good to have it's always good to have a team with you.
No, I agree 100%. I think I have two more questions. One being, I I now follow you on all social media, I should say. So I see you're always going to like these different events, and speaking. What is that like? What has that been for you? That journey itself.
The journey itself, can you rephrase it again?
Mm-hmm. So like just going to like these different events. For example, the one here in Knoxville, where you spoke at the autism acceptance breakfast. Like, what was that like? Being
What
the
was that?
keynote speaker.
Okay, what was that like for me being a keynote speaker? I would definitely say is that it's really like I'm sharing my entire story from beginning to end and just on talking about it just feels so great on talking about the experience of how I talked about the entire diagnosis. And it's not just about my diagnosis, but it's also about my entrepreneurial journey. And the reactions I would receive from the audience is like it would be like some nice laughs. People would definitely laugh about my would definitely laugh about certain things like certain social skill. Like for example, they would laugh every time I talk about social skills. Like remember the part where we say mute to toot when you're on Zoom? That was like a fun reaction. The overall experience of speaking at this event, definitely I just feel so honored to talk about I just feel so honored to being here and feeling like wanted to share stories. And when people love the stories, I felt grateful.
I think it's nice too. You're able to share your story and your journey. It might help someone else recognize, like, oh, I'm kind of like Dani too, or oh, I see these things in myself. You might be helping someone else and you don't even know it.
That is true, and especially because every time when I help somebody on the autism spectrum, I didn't really think about my own problems anymore. When I help somebody else, it just make they just make me look good. It's I'm not saying it's just a brag, but it's true.
So, my one last question that I can think of, what was like being on Love on the Spectrum like? How did that, what did that feel like? How did that change things for you? Did you learn anything about yourself?
Well, that's a really good set of questions. And being on Love on the Spectrum taught me so much about love, boundaries, and the communication. It's not really a romantic comedy, it's real life. And it's messy and beautiful. And I'm currently very happy and excited about a wonderful new chapter of my love life. And when it comes to learn the three lessons that I've learned from the show is that from season one, it's very important to set your boundaries from the very beginning because you don't want you don't want your boundaries to be invaded when you're just or is initiating love from the beginning. You have to get to know the person for about four on the fourth or the fifth date till you make that decision. And the second lesson I learned from the second season is don't ever fear rejection. So when you feel rejected, that's okay. It's always important to move on to the next stage. As what Temple Grandin says, when one door closes, the other door opens. And then the third one that I've that I've learned from season 3 is finding the right find it's not finding love is not really about finding the right person. It's about being the right person. And it's really very, very important. And it's also important that all relationships are a two-way street.
Well, I think you even taught me a few things, but I think those are very important lessons that you've learned. Is there anything that I haven't asked you or haven't addressed that you would like to speak to, whether it's your journey or love on the spectrum or your business or anything that you would like to talk about?
So I am incredibly proud of the work we're doing at Dani to empower autistic artists and animators. Authentic representation in media matters so much. It's about showing the world our real beautiful stories. And remember, if anybody doubts you, you cannot do this or you cannot do that, just look straight in the eyes. Well, not the eyes exactly. You could just look straight at them, like their ears, their chin, their nose. Believe me, they can't tell. Just look straight at them and say, yes, I can and I will, just watch me. And then go out and show them your magic too. Remember, if you can see it, you can be it. And if anybody would like to learn more information of what we do at Dani, I also provide free introductory animation classes on selected Saturdays when available for anybody that would like to learn about my our free introductory animation course at Dani. Shameless promotion.